The first night it started subtly. Clara jolted awake at 3:14 a.m., the clock radio glowing an accusing red. She glanced at Michael, his side of the bed undisturbed. A pang of loneliness shot through her, a constant companion in their increasingly strained marriage. She tried to sleep, but the silence pressed against her eardrums, broken only by the rhythmic creak of the old house settling. The next night, it was 3:33 a.m. This time, Michael stirred beside her, muttering something unintelligible. Clara felt a sliver of relief, a fleeting connection before he drifted back to sleep. The creaking intensified, a symphony of groans from the floorboards and walls. It felt like the house was trying to whisper something. Something she couldn't quite understand. The pattern solidified. Every night, a precise wake-up, 3:52 a.m. Now, both Clara and Michael were plagued by sleeplessness. Dark circles rimmed their eyes, their conversations tinged with a raw, desperate edge. The creaking was constant, a relentless soundtrack to their crumbling world. One night, Clara awoke to a sound that made her blood run cold. It wasn't the creaking. It was a voice, a low whisper emanating from the corner of the bedroom. It spoke in a language that defied understanding, a guttural rasp that sent shivers down her spine. Michael was fast asleep, oblivious to the chilling whisper clawing at the edges of their sanity. The next morning, Clara found strange symbols scrawled across the dusty attic windowpane. Jagged lines and swirling shapes, they looked like a forgotten alphabet from a nightmare. Panic gnawed at her. Was she losing her mind? Was the sleep deprivation manifesting in hallucinations? Fear drove them to seek help. Their therapist, a kind but slightly bewildered woman, offered coping mechanisms for stress and insomnia. But the whispers and symbols persisted, relentless harbingers of something sinister. The house creaked warnings at night, the voice growing bolder, more insistent. One desperate night, Clara couldn't take it anymore. Michael was slumped against the headboard, eyes vacant. Grabbing a flashlight, she ventured into the attic, the source of the whispers. Dust motes danced in the beam, revealing an old trunk pushed into the corner. Her heart hammered in her chest as she opened it. Inside, nestled in faded velvet, were leather-bound books filled with the same symbols carved on the window. As she touched a page, a wave of dizziness washed over her, images flashing in her mind. Visions of a dark ceremony, chanting figures dancing around an unholy fire. The whispers in her head reached a crescendo, a chilling chorus of voices echoing the incantations from the book. Clara stumbled back, the book falling to the floor. A cold hand clamped onto her shoulder. She screamed, a sound that ripped through the house. Michael stood behind her, a vacant look in his eyes, his voice filled with an inhuman rasp. "Welcome, sister." Terror surged through Clara. Michael wasn't Michael anymore. The entity that possessed him spoke of an ancient ritual, one that needed a sacrifice to bridge the veil between worlds. They needed two, a man and a woman. Clara understood then, the whispers, the symbols, the sleeplessness, it was all preparation. Panic fueled her escape. She pushed past Michael, his grip surprisingly weak, and raced down the creaking stairs. The house seemed to resist her, the floorboards warping beneath her feet, the walls closing in. She slammed the front door behind her, the lock clicking shut just as Michael's hand reached for the knob. Clara ran into the night, the whispers still echoing in her head. She didn't know where she was going, only that she couldn't stay. She was alone, hunted by a darkness that had consumed the man she loved. The sleepless nights had become a living nightmare, and dawn, if it ever came, promised no respite. Clara knew the fight wasn't over. To save herself, She had to break the ritual. Find a way to sever the link between the entity and Michael. The book in the attic held the key, but reaching it meant confronting the darkness head-on. The sleepless nights had taken their toll, but they had also forged a steely resolve within her. Clara wouldn't become another sacrifice. The house might be filled with whispers, but in the silence of her sleepless nights, a fierce determination had taken root. It was a race against time, a fight for survival in the face of an unknown horror. And as long as she could stay awake, as long as the sleepless nights continued, Clara refused to give in.